The way we handle our desires will determine the success or failure of our lives. In areas where we manage our desires well, and we'll see in a moment what that means, we will be successful, inevitably, sooner or later, and mostly sooner. Where we don't handle our desires well, no matter what will happen externally, no matter what privileged conditions we have, if we have a misunderstanding, let's say, an ignorant or a disharmonious relationship with desires, that area in the life where we handle desires in this way will be sabotaged, will be filled with failure. There are all sorts of simplistic solutions for desires, and we will go through them and then show the synthetic tantric view, which is not simplistic, which is very profound, and it actually combines the essential understandings of different traditions, different philosophies, into something very profound and holistic. So, desires essentially have a tendency, and when we say desire is also with its counterpart as fear, they have essentially a tendency to lead us astray. People desire cigarettes. There's a glitch in the system. It makes the body desire cigarettes. It's very bad. We desire a certain phone game. We desire to scroll. We desire ice cream. We would desire food that is not necessarily healthy for us. And if we just follow that desire, our body would not be healthy. We desire partners which are not necessarily good for us. And if we just follow desire, if desire alone is the boss, the trajectory is for addiction. Porn addiction, sex addiction, drug addiction, cigarettes addiction, sweets addictions, phone addiction, scrolling addiction, you name it. That's the trajectory where desire goes. Desire brings pleasure, and then pleasure brings more desire, brings agitation, brings an unconsciousness so that the desire will be fulfilled. There is a kind of blurriness that appears, and I don't know why I was scrolling so much, I don't know why I was with porn, I don't know why I had sex with the wrong person. There is a kind of unconsciousness that makes desire the boss, and then the trajectory. And I know it from my own experience. I remember already as a teenager, I would notice when great desire would come, a blurriness would come, and then it was like an automatic trajectory to fulfill that desire. You know, there are hedonistic schools that say just go and fulfill your desires, and so forth. And it leads very often to addictions, and you see pop stars. Yeah, everybody wants to be a pop star, but then you look at many of the pop stars, they get really, really addicted to things because they have the means to. The money, the name and fame to have whatever sex or substance abuse addiction that is possible. Not all pop stars, but many as a substantial number as an example. So looking at that, there were all sorts of schools, Stoic schools, monastic schools in Christianity, in Buddhism, in Hinduism, that say, okay, you need to avoid, overcome desire. The Four Noble Truths of Buddha, life is suffering, the cause of suffering is thirst, or essentially desire. There is a solution for suffering, you overcome desire. You become desireless, and boom, you are a Buddha. True. But how to? You just suppress all your desires? And that's what is done. So it's done in monasteries to the extreme, but it's done in society also, because if you just fulfill your desires, you become a Homer Simpson. You don't get a good job, you don't get a good relationship, you don't get a good friend, and you're not good with yourself, you're agitated. So what the mainstream is doing is a kind of not so wise average of just being hedonistic and just following desires some of the time, and suppressing some other desires because we kind of figured out that's not going to work. There's the famous marshmallow experiment. Kids are placed in front of a marshmallow, young, 4, 5, 6. Scientist tells them, if you don't eat this marshmallow until I come back, I give you 2 marshmallows. The kids that stay and that can hold their horses for several minutes in front of the marshmallow alone in the room and not eat it will become substantially more successful. This is more important than IQ. More important, they were checked over decades. So the kids that did not eat the marshmallow and had a possibility to suppress that desire and to have discernment and understanding, I'm going to get a second marshmallow, these kids would later be in much higher roles. They would be the boss of the kids who ate the marshmallow. Some kids, they said, but I can eat it now? He says, yes, that's that. Suppressing desires is normally done in society for attaining ambitions. The desire is to stay in bed, but I get up because I want to go to university to work and so forth, and then to fulfill my ambition of having money, power, name and fame, whatever, impact on the world. I want to make an impact on the world. Whatever form of ambition, desire is suppressed, ambition is fulfilled. You want to win the gold medal in the Olympic, you better not be addicted to desires, because it's not fun to train that much. It won't be your desire to train. It will be an act of will. We move from desire to will. And as such, we win some medal. We don't do what we like to do, we do what we want to do. Yeah? So there's the movement from desire to will. Essentially what happens is that ambition is but another more refined and more mental form of desire, and when that is fulfilled and you win the medal, there's also the day after the medal. And when you did get rich, there is the moment after you realize that you are rich, there is the moment after you realize you have accomplished. And I can tell you, I accomplished many ambitions of myself in my life. I have a bunch of white hair. And it's never what it promises. It's just a long duration of course, a much higher octave of desire, but still not the great fulfillment that we seek for. Now, the thing that happens when we suppress desire, we suppress life. Even those people that train and so forth, they normally have their outlet of desire. You train, 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 and then you have your outlet of desire somewhere. Or businessmen, yeah? They go and they're very much on their ambition in the day, and then in the night, who parties like businessmen? They go, they travel, and they party in the night. So they are with ambition during the day in their business meetings, and they go back to desire and will, ambition during the day and desires during the night. And the reason why people are doing that is because desire is life. And if you continuously suppress desire, and there's this like extreme nerd archetype, yeah, or stereotype. It's not an archetype, it's a stereotype. The extreme nerd stereotype that you sometimes see in movie and sometimes in real life. You probably met some mega nerds. And that they really, really suppress any form of desire, and they just live in a kind of mental world. And no, sometimes they also have their addiction to a computer game or something. But you see, people that suppress desire very, very much, they lose their connection with life, and you get very dry, and you get to such a level of dryness, and you say, well, what's going to give me life now? I cannot live without life, without liveliness. If I just do what I'm supposed to do, if I just do my duties, I don't have life. So eventually you go back to desire. You don't become a Buddha. You go back to desire because you want life. So, this is not a pessimistic lecture, it's not a pessimistic presentation, there is a solution, right? We follow desires, we go astray, we get to addictions, we follow ambitions, we get some social success, we make an impact at the world, but it's empty in the end. We don't follow desires, we get dried out of life, and then normally surrender and fall out of desire. What do we do? These 3 options, they are not enough. The solution that Tantra brings is the contemplation of desire. Doesn't sound like much, but it's much. Desire is pointing to the ice cream. You don't look at the ice cream, you look at the finger. Desire is pointing towards some erotic experience. Don't look at that man, woman that you desire. Look at the finger. Same with ambition. Ambition points towards name and fame, towards validation, towards an accomplishment. Contemplate the finger. Contemplate the thing that is pointing. What do magicians do? They say, look over there, and then something explodes over there. Where does the magic happen? Over there? No. That's why they do something to look over there, and then the other hand is doing the magic, but nobody's looking at the other hand, and wow, there's a pigeon there or something. When the magician says, look over there, do not look over there, look at the magician. The desire does the same. Desire says, look over there, and steals our life force. When desire says, look over there, look at the desire. If you contemplate the desire, consciousness creates an alchemy. It brings wonders. How and why it does it in another presentation, but it just does. When consciousness meets the desire, let's say the illusion of the desire is separated from the life of the desire. And we harness this feeling of liveliness, and the desire itself dissolves. Like an illusion. You don't feel anymore. If you desire ice cream and you can meditate on the desire for ice cream for a few minutes, where you let go of the thought of the ice cream, you just feel the longing inside, that longing will start to go level by level to sweetness, a wish for sweetness, a wish for life, a wish for pleasure, a wish for bliss, a wish for peace. It will somehow be pierced layer by layer by layer, and the life of that desire will become unconditionally yours, to be directed in any way that your heart and soul wishes. So desires will play their tricks on us and guide our life to let's say a very low, high ceiling, a glass ceiling of anything that can ever happen if it desires, and even ambitions, if they control our lives. But if we contemplate desires again and again, the chaos of desire will dissolve, and the life force of desire would feed something extraordinary in the heart. Above desire is ambition. And above ambition is what? Above ambition is the longing of the heart. When the heart longs for something, that has actual meaning. When the depth of the heart longs for something, there is a selfless life inside of all of us. And when that selflessness is energized by contemplating the desire, when that love, when that altruism, which is just natural, it is embedded in our heart, embedded in our body, embedded in our biology. When we look deep enough inside, beyond the agitation of desire and ambition, there in the depth of our inner ocean appears this light. And from that, what you long for has actual meaning. It brings actual happiness and actual good impact at the world. So, to conclude, desires themselves, if we follow, they lead us astray. If we have a good control of the desires and we rise to ambitions, we will be able to accomplish more in life, but it will still be empty. If we ignore desires and suppress them, we will lose the life in them. That's no solution. And if we contemplate desires, we will become free. In desire and beyond desire. And this is how tantrics could live their lives, with a family, with a love relationship, with a business, with good food, with a good life, and still be accomplished. Buddha in the suburbs. You can still reach the highest forms of spirituality and interact with the day-to-day world if desire has enough consciousness. If desire doesn't have enough consciousness, you better go to the monastery and stay away from the world. Is the only way you will attain the highest spiritual light. So this is, in very short, the tantric solution, the tantric understanding about desire. And if you have your own experience, perhaps you're also walking a spiritual path, or just have your own interesting experience of what you've done with your desires and ambitions, please share in the comments below. If you like this video and want to learn more about Tantra, about yoga, about psychology, emotional healing, lives of saints and the scriptures,
then hit the bell, like, subscribe, and you'll never miss an upload. Thank you so much.